Wait a minute. You do emails till all night?
No, but sometimes what happens is if I get disturbed and I can't sleep.
Oh, okay. Don't read disturbing emails only between 9 a.m. and 5 p.m. Prabhupada said 9 to 5 are banking hours. He meant, do your service 9 to 5 and do your sadhana in morning and evening.
But I think sometimes don't chant regular, some here, some there, just trying to squeeze it in.
Yeah.
And
Squeezing it in, yeah, that's a crime. Courtesy? Yeah. Well, yeah, I mean, we have 24 hours in a day, and the goal of life is to go back to Godhead, and we squeeze in japa. Krishna, I love you. Yeah, I squeeze your japa in when I have a chance, but I'm too busy doing other things. Yeah.
Let things worry you during japa if there's something she's going on rather than putting it aside.
Yeah, focus on what worries you during japa. Yeah, that's a big one. 16 rounds goes like that when you're worried, doesn't it?
Yeah. Then you get to the end of it, you think, oh, you just start with another 16.
Yeah, since I didn't really chant 16. Yeah, okay.
And also making plans during japa.
Yeah.
Allowing the mind to do something in the Krishna consciousness.
Yeah, some devotees say you should, if you're thinking like that, you should write things down, but I don't agree. Because it just encourages you to plan. So your phone's off, you no paper pad, just chant. I have a little technique that I think is really good, especially if you can get in this consciousness that you all know when your day starts. For some people, it starts at 7 or 8 or 9. In the temple. What time do you take breakfast? 8:30. So your day really starts after breakfast. Okay? So let's say, for all the devotees living in the temple, your day starts at 9. For those who are working, going to school, your day starts whenever it starts. So a nice meditation is that when you're chanting, you remind yourself that my day doesn't start till 9 o'clock. This is not actually today. This is not my day yet. My day doesn't start till I go out and do all my work. So while I'm chanting, you can avoid thinking of all the things you have to do just by reminding yourself, day hasn't started yet. Now I'll give you a little, let's say, perspective on this. We have japa retreats, and what we would do at a japa retreat is we wouldn't do it here, even though this would be a good place. But a better place would be to go to a retreat center, where you leave everything you have to do behind, because you couldn't do it at a retreat center, right? Whatever loose ends you have, you'd have to wait till you get back, right? So the idea of retreats, at least the philosophy of retreats, is that retreats should be 6 hours away from where you live. In other words, too far to think I could drive home, and far enough that you wouldn't think about home, because if it's only an hour away, you could always go home at night and, sort things out. So the idea of retreat is to get your mind off everything, so that you can get into whatever it is you're doing at the retreat. In this case, get into japa. So we do 64 rounds of retreats. It's very easy to do, because there's nothing else going on. We don't have any service, we're not in our home, computers aren't there bothering us. And there's, 50 other devotees doing 64 rounds. And nobody's talking, and so we take a vow of silence. So it's quite easy. Much easier than you think. Sometimes it's easier in that environment to do 64 than in this environment to do 16. So the idea is you remove yourself from all the possible distractions, because they're not there. And you're far enough away from them that you can't go back, so you just forget about them. You've kind of written off those 5 days of your life, that they don't exist in the material world, it's just the retreat. Right? So we need to do that every morning. It's like we're on a retreat every morning, and our day hasn't started yet. So if you're in that consciousness, it's very easy to concentrate. There's nothing to think about the day, because your day hasn't begun yet. Does that make sense? It's just an adjustment that you make. And you remind yourself when you're getting sidetracked that, well, my day hasn't begun. My day doesn't, so if your day begins at 8 and you're up at 5, you have 3 hours before your day begins to hear and chant. Isn't that nice? Yes? So try that. It actually helps. Because sometimes you just need a few adjustments in the mind. An adjustment like that's quite simple. Just to pacify the mind. I could think about this later. I'll think about it all later. Right? Is that okay? What time does your day start? Baleshwar, what time does your day start? Hello. What time does your day start?
At 8:30.
8:30, yeah. So what time do you get up?
Around 5:30.
So you have 3 hours. You have a 3-hour retreat. Well, let's say 2.5. You have to get ready. You have at least 2 to 2.5 hours of retreat every morning. Because your day doesn't start till, you have to leave at 8:30?
Yeah.
So your day starts like 7:30. You have to get ready. 7:38. So you have till 7:38, so you have at least 2 hours of nothing to think about but Krishna. Right? Yeah. That's how we should all think. Day doesn't start yet, I can deal with it later. You have to think that way to do sadhana. Because sadhana is like a little retreat every morning. And that's the time you give to Krishna. Right? So if you think that way, you don't have to think about what you're going to do later in the day, office, this and that, because your day hasn't started yet. Okay, you wanted to share something?
Yeah. We have 3 things: good, bad, and improved. So I would like to share the improved things, what Krishna says. So get up early in the morning, finish your chanting before going to office.
Yes.
And the chanting should be in a full attention. And beg for Krishna's mercy. And improve your sadhana mostly on listening. And then always in a mood to service attitude.
Very nice, thank you. Now, the most interesting thing, what do you think is the most interesting thing about this exercise? Yes, it's introspective.
I want you to say it's actually easy. The solution is very easy. It's staring you in the face.
Oh yeah.
You've just been getting caught out all the time.
The solution staring you in the face. That's so interesting. Yeah.
I think I did this activity for the first time, and I came to know that what are the bad things which I am doing while japa and how I can improve.
Yeah.
So when I have the picture clear with me that what are the things I need to improve, so I can focus on those things and I can improve this in my further chanting or japa.
Yes. So, how many of you have ever done an exercise like this before?
It's the first time.
One. Where'd you do it?
Oh,
Oh. Yeah.
yeah.
So, it's only a few devotees have done it. That's interesting, isn't it? And like you said, the answers are staring you in the face. I think that's so interesting, isn't it? It seems to me that most of the things you wrote down were kind of obvious. Did it seem like that to you? It wasn't like you had to dig very deep. It was like... So that's what I find so interesting. That it's obvious to us, but we haven't taken the time to step back and actually notice it. So that's all we're doing here, really. It's taking a step back and noticing. Now, I was saying earlier, Sadhguru Maharaj said, you should do that after every japa session. After every 16 rounds, you should step back and say, what was good, what wasn't good, how can I improve? That would be amazing. But I took it up a notch. You're ready to hear the way I think we should do it? Good. Before I tell you, we have to do an exercise. And all I want you to do is give yourself a grade on your japa. It's on a scale of 0 to 10. Well, 1 to 10. 1 is really bad and 10 is really good. And 5 is not good, not bad. 5 is okay. So, think of your japa the last few months or the last year. And just write down in your notebook a grade. Just give yourself a grade. Okay? No one's going to see it. I know it might be hard if your job isn't good. But it's just a self-evaluation on the average of your job. Or you can give a grade in your mind if you don't want to write it down, because others might see it and it might embarrass you. Or you might get proud if you write a 10, you might see it. No, they'll think you're crazy. If you write 10, they'll think you're not realistic. They'll think you're delusional. Okay, so we have some idea on it. We have some analysis. I don't know how accurate you feel it is, but that doesn't matter so much. But you have some analysis. It's okay, 5, it's not okay, 4, 3, it's really bad, 2, 1, it's horrible, -6. It's, every day is good, 6, 7, consistent. So what about this idea? This is really nice meditation. While you're chanting, every once in a while you check in and just ask yourself, what level am I at? Like every car has a gauge to let you know how hot the engine is, right? Now, I don't think ladies look at it as much as men, because men know if it gets in the hot, the engine blows up. Not all women know that. Women, do you know that? When it's hot as in the engine gets hot, it can blow up. Do you know that? No, it can. Yeah. When it's in the hot, don't run it, because it'll blow up. And if you have an oil gauge and there's no oil, don't run it, because it'll blow the engine up. Like, men know that. I mean, they're supposed to. Men, do you all know? Any men don't know that? You all know that. Yes. Anyway, so now the ladies know that also. So imagine you have a gauge like that, like a gauge, and you're chanting japa, and the gauge is going 3, 2, 1, 4, 5, 6. And you're kind of gauging your japa as you go. And the nice thing about it is you can catch yourself when you're going down. Because every once in a while you can ask yourself, where am I at? On a scale of 1 to 10. So, different than analyzing it at the end is analyzing it in real time. Which means while you're chanting. It's, you can do this with anything you do in life. You can kind of analyze how you're doing. So it's something to think about. And you can try it sometime. What do you think? Good idea? Give it a try. Yeah. Just become more conscious of the level, the quality of your japa. And when it goes down, if you're conscious, then you'll bring it up. If you're not conscious, it just goes down, and who knows where it'll stop. And it's kind of a bottomless pit. I've had some devotees say, yeah, I haven't chanted any good rounds in like 15 years. Well, that's pretty scary, isn't it? Okay, now you want to hear something even more scary? Are you ready to be scared? Okay, here goes. We're going to scare you. Okay, you all have a number. Now, let's say, at the moment of death, you're chanting your last Mahamantra, and it's on the quality of this number that you just said you've been chanting for the last 3 months. Would any of you have a problem with that? Or would any of you not have a problem with it? Now, wouldn't it be nice? Wouldn't it be nice if I said, what if the quality of your japa for the last 3 months was the same as your last round or last mantra? And I said, would it be a problem? And everyone said, no, it wouldn't be a problem. Wouldn't it be nice to say that? That my japa it's on the quality, I keep it on the quality of every day, that even if that were my last day, I will be satisfied that I did my best and this was the best I could do. Wouldn't that be nice? Don't you think? Yes? No?
Yes.
Yeah. So that's kind of what we want to do. I mean, sometimes when I'm chanting, I think like that. I think, okay, what if this were my last round of my life? Would I be satisfied? It helps me upgrade. Here's another morbid thought. That number you have, what if there was a moratorium on improving japa? and it was impossible to improve japa for the rest of your life, and that number you wrote down was as high or as good it was going to get. It couldn't get any better than that. Would that be a problem for anybody? Yeah. Now, if we say yes, that's a big problem, don't you think? Something that's so important, and we're not satisfied. And I'm not asking you this question and asking you to be humble, but be realistic. In other words, you want to chant japa every day, that's helpful to your spiritual life. Yes? You can, at the end of the day, you put your beads down, or at the end of your rounds, and say, that was good. That was good, I feel strong. Not like, I don't have any more rounds to chant. Not like that. Does that make sense? Okay. Now you're all feeling really miserable now? We have Prozac out here in the shoe room for anyone who needs it. I bring Prozac to all my workshops because I greatly depress devotees with things I say. Help them understand where they're at. Yeah, so we also bring counselors for depression. Okay, we're going to take a break because we've been here 2 hours actually. So why don't we come back at 5 and we have how much more time? Till 7:30?
Yeah, 7's out here, 7:30%, whichever you want.
Okay, yeah, we'll see. All right. Is that okay?
Yeah.
Yes.
Are we making progress?
Yes.
Okay. You want to do a retreat for 5 days? Chant 64 rounds. Yeah.
Yes.
Retreats is much better. Retreat is 15 hours a day. So this is 10. Retreat is 15 hours a day for 4.5 days. Basically 1 evening and 4. Thursday, Friday, Saturday. It's like 4 days total. It's amazing. Okay, so we'll come back at 5. That's good. Thank you very much. Srila Prabhupada ki jai. We're going to say goodbye to all of our viewers because that's what we have to do right now. Hare Krishna.